In the ancient Pali Canon, there is a concept known as Samsara, the endless wandering, a cycle where we are trapped not by the world around us, but by the turbulence within our own minds. We often believe that to find peace, we must rearrange the furniture of our lives, change our jobs, change our partners, or change our bank balances. But the Buddha, the first true scientist of the human mind, proposed a radical alternative. He suggested that the chaos isn't out there. It is a projection of the drunken elephant, the untamed mind that charges wildly from one emotion to the next. Modern neuroscience confirms what the sages realized under the Bodhi tree 25 centuries ago. We are biologically hardwired to seek threats and crave dopamine, creating a loop of dissatisfaction. But this loop can be broken. We do not need to retreat to a Himalayan cave to find the silence of the void. We can cultivate it right here, in the noise of the modern world. Today, we will not just recite rules, we will explore the psychology of awakening. We will dismantle the architecture of suffering and rebuild a fortress of inner serenity using 7 ancient principles, refined for the modern seeker. This is the path to the stillness that exists in the eye of the storm. The first principle requires us to master the art of sacred silence. In a world that rewards the loudest voice, we have forgotten the immense power of the void. The original teachings encourage us to listen twice as much as we speak, but let us take this deeper. This is not merely about politeness. It is about the cessation of the ego's constant broadcasting. When we are constantly speaking, we are merely reaffirming what we already know. We are reinforcing our existing neural pathways, trapping ourselves in the same old patterns of thought. To speak is to repeat, to listen is to evolve. Consider the metaphor of the empty cup. A cup that is already full of tea cannot receive anything new. If your mind is constantly churning with your own opinions, judgments, and rehearsals of what you will say next, you are that full cup. You cannot receive the wisdom of the universe, nor can you truly connect with another human being. True listening is a form of meditation. It is the act of emptying the cup. It is a state of sunyata, or emptiness, where you become a radar dish, fully receptive to the frequency of the reality before you. When you practice this deep, active listening, you trigger the mirror neurons in your brain, the biological seat of empathy. You move from an intellectual understanding of the world to a felt experience of it. You begin to hear not just the words being spoken, but the fear behind the anger, the sorrow behind the silence, and the hope behind the hesitation. By restraining the urge to impose your narrative on the world, you allow the truth of the world to reveal itself to you. This silence is not weakness. It is a profound containment of energy. It builds a reservoir of ojas, or spiritual vigor, making your words, when you finally choose to speak, land with the weight of gold and the precision of a laser. The second principle is the liberation from the hall of mirrors. We often navigate our lives as if we are actors on a stage, constantly performing for an audience of critics. We let the judgments, attitudes, and fleeting comments of others steer the ship of our destiny. This is a tragedy of perception. The Buddha taught that looking for self-worth in the opinions of others is like trying to catch the wind in a net. It is an impossible, exhausting task that leads only to suffering. Understand that when someone judges you, they are rarely seeing you. They are seeing a projection of their own past, their insecurities, and their worldview painted onto your face. You are simply the screen upon which they project their own internal film. If you allow their projection dictate your emotional state, you have handed over remote control of your nervous system to a passerby. You become a leaf blown about by the chaotic winds of other people's karma. Instead, we must cultivate the quality of the mountain. The mountain does not reshape itself because the wind howls around it. It does not shrink because the clouds cover it. It remains rooted, massive, and immovable. This is the practice of right view. It is the understanding that your path is a solitary journey of self-discovery. The map is internal, written in your intuition and your values, not on the signposts erected by society. By detaching from the need for external validation, you reclaim your sovereign power. You stop reacting to the noise and start responding to your own signal. This autonomy is the bedrock of true peace, for it places the source of your happiness within a fortress that no one else can breach. The third principle is the alchemy of acceptance, or the wisdom of the second arrow. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable and often painful. Entropy is the rule of the universe, so things fall apart, bodies age, and plans crumble. The Buddha illustrated this with a powerful parable. He said that when a person is struck by an arrow, they feel pain. This is physical, unavoidable reality. But if the person then weeps, wails, and wonders why me, they strike themselves with a second arrow. The first arrow is pain, the second arrow is suffering. The first arrow is the event itself, the job loss, the breakup, the illness. The second arrow is our resistance to the event. It is the story we tell ourselves about how this shouldn't be happening. We cannot always stop the first arrow, but we have absolute control over the second. Acceptance is not passivity, it is not lying down and letting the world walk over you. Rather, acceptance is the cessation of the war against reality. It is the refusal to shoot the second arrow. Imagine you are a scientist observing a chemical reaction. When the mixture explodes, you do not get angry at the chemicals. You observe the reaction and adjust your next experiment. This is the stance of equanimity. By accepting the worst-case scenario, by looking at the monster in the eye, you strip it of its power to terrify you. You engage your prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, rather than the amygdala, the fear center. You say to the universe, I acknowledge this is happening. Now, what is the most skillful action I can take? In this space of acceptance, you transform from a victim of circumstance into a master of adaptation. You become like water, which flows around the obstacle it cannot move, eventually wearing down the stone through persistence and fluidity. The fourth principle challenges our relationship with failure, viewing it through the lens of Kintsugi. In the West, we are taught to hide our cracks, to be ashamed of our stumbles. But in the Eastern philosophy of Kintsugi, broken pottery is repaired with gold lacquer. The break is not hidden, it is highlighted. The object becomes more beautiful, more valuable, and more resilient because it has been broken. The Buddha taught that we are born again every morning. This means that our past failures are dead, they are ash. Only the present moment is fire. Neuroscience tells us that the brain learns through error prediction. We do not learn when things go perfectly. We learn when reality contradicts our expectations. Every failure is a data point, a crucial piece of feedback that rewires our neural circuitry for greater competence. If you fear falling, you will never learn to dance. If you fear the silence, you will never hear the wisdom. We must adopt the mindset of the phoenix. The phoenix does not fear the fire. It knows that the fire is the necessary precursor to its rebirth. When you stumble, do not chastise yourself. Do not identify with the failure. You are not the failure issue, you are the experiencer of the event. View the obstacle as the path itself. Every great master was once a disaster. The difference is that the master fell 7 times and stood up 8. This resilience is not just stubbornness, it is the spiritual practice of virya, or energetic diligence. It is the understanding that the only true failure is the cessation of effort. As long as you are moving, you are evolving. The 5th principle is the return to simplicity, or the one taste. Our modern lives are cluttered not just with objects, but with choices, information, and desires. We are drowning in sensory overload, which keeps our nervous systems in a state of chronic low-level fight or flight. The Buddha advised, the way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. This is a call to radical simplification, to cutting away the non-essential to reveal the diamond of the essential. Think of your mind as a Zen garden. If you allow weeds to grow unchecked, if you clutter the space with too many statues and ornaments, the beauty of the design is lost. Peace is found in the space between things, not in the things themselves. This principle invites us to practice nekkhamma, or renunciation of the unnecessary. This isn't about living in poverty, it's about clarity. It's about looking at your calendar, your relationships, and your habits, and asking, does this nourish my soul, or does it merely consume my time? By reducing the cognitive load on your brain, you free up energy for what actually matters: connection, creativity, and presence. Just as a single candle shines brightest in a dark, empty room, your focus becomes laser sharp when you strip away the distractions. Simplify your surroundings to calm your visual cortex. Simplify your commitments to calm your anxiety. Simplify your desires to calm your restless heart. In the spaciousness of simplicity, you find the luxury of time and the richness of pure being. The 6th principle is the strength of the bamboo, which is the essence of true humility. In a culture that celebrates arrogance and self-promotion, humility is often mistaken for weakness. But the Buddha taught that the wise man is not the one who roars like a lion, but the one who brings peace like the dawn. The rigid oak tree may look strong, but when the typhoon comes, it snaps because it cannot bend. The bamboo, however, is humble. It bows low before the wind. It yields. And because it yields, it survives the storm and springs back up when the skies clear. Humility is the dissolution of the rigid ego. It is the understanding that we are not separate from the web of life, but a part of it. When we approach others with arrogance, we build walls. When we approach them with humility, we build bridges. A humble mind is an open mind, always ready to learn, always ready to expand. It is the realization that every person you meet knows something you do not. Furthermore, humility is the antidote to anxiety. Arrogance requires constant maintenance. You must always defend your image, always prove you are right. This is exhausting. Humility allows you to put down the heavy armor of the false self. You no longer need to pretend. You can simply be. This authenticity resonates with others on a deep frequency. People trust the humble because they sense no threat. By lowering yourself, like water seeking the lowest ground, you become an ocean vast, deep, and powerful enough to hold all things. The final principle is the awareness of impermanence, the antidote to the golden handcuffs. We spend our lives accumulating wealth, status, titles, possessions, believing that these things will provide us with security and happiness. But the Buddha pierced this illusion with the concept of anicca, or impermanence. Everything that is constructed must eventually deconstruct. To build your happiness on the foundation of transient things is to build a castle on shifting sands. Health is the true crown, contentment is the true empire, and faithful relationships are the true treasury. The frantic pursuit of material fortune often costs us these very things. We trade our health for money, only to spend that money trying to regain our health. We neglect our relationships to build a career, only to find ourselves lonely at the top. This is the bad math of Samsara. We must learn to view ourselves as guests in this world. A guest in a hotel enjoys the beautiful room, the comfortable bed, and the fine view, but they do not weep when it is time to check out, because they never believed they owned the room. They understood it was a temporary arrangement. Similarly, enjoy your success, enjoy your possessions, but hold them loosely. Do not grip them so tight that your knuckles turn white. Realize that true wealth is the state of mind that requires nothing external to feel complete. It is the ability to sit in a quiet room and feel a sense of abundance simply because you are breathing, because you are conscious, and because you are connected to the infinite mystery of existence. These 7 principles are not merely philosophical concepts to be debated in a classroom. They are practical tools for the laboratory of your life. They are the software updates for your consciousness. By listening to the silence, standing like a mountain, accepting the arrow, healing with gold, clearing the garden, bending like bamboo, and letting go of the illusion of ownership, you transform your mind from a prison into a sanctuary. The journey to enlightenment is not a vertical climb to the heavens. It is inward journey to the center of your own being. It is the peeling away of layers of fear, conditioning, and delusion to reveal the radiant core that has been there all along. As you walk this path, remember that you do not walk it alone. You are walking in the footsteps of the wise, supported by the laws of nature and guided by the light of your own awareness. May you apply these teachings with the precision of a scientist and the compassion of a saint. May you find the silence between the thoughts. And may your life become a beacon of peace in a world that so desperately needs it. Until we meet again in the space of awareness, walk gently, breathe deeply, and see clearly.